Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
I can just picture Abram on his way to Egypt with his whole household in tow. It was a long trip. At one point, he glanced over to Sarai and thought, "Wow, she's beautiful." That thought progressed to, "The Egyptians will think she's beautiful and want to kill me to have her." Now, to me, that's quite a leap. After all, Sarai wasn't exactly a spring chicken. But one consequence of getting off God's path, as we see here with Abram, is fear. When we're no longer being led by God, we become uncertain, self-conscious, and tend to obsess and worry over things and make decisions that are not in line with God's values. That's why God tells us to bring every thought into captivity to Christ and to think on things that are good, pure, and righteous. Most of the things we worry about aren't going to happen anyway, so obsessing about what-ifs in life is pointless. Instead, we need to trust God. Claim His promises. Abram didn't do that here, and he got himself and his wife in a huge mess of trouble. Abram asked Sarah to claim that she was his sister instead of his wife. After all, she was his half-sister. But a half-truth is a whole lie. Besides, if he thought ahead, he would have realized that saying she was his sister was maybe even more dangerous than claiming her as his wife. What man wouldn't want her if she was beautiful and unattached? I'm not sure why his thoughts didn't process this very well, except that his fear got in the way of clear choices. What did he think when Pharaoh took her? Anyone else he might have been able to refuse, but not the most powerful man in the land, especially if she really was his sister. It would have been an honor. Abram must have felt awful when he received those sheep and oxen, donkeys, servants, and camels. And by the way, one of those servants was probably Hagar, which would later get him into even more trouble. What could Abram do? His wife was in Pharaoh's harem. I bet he was glad when God took charge. We get ourselves in messes sometimes too, don't we? When God steps in, it's such a huge relief. But He uses those messes in His plan to teach us and strengthen our faith, make us more dependent on Him. If we turn to Him during these times when we've sinned and messed up royally, as my mom would say, God takes control. Though we still experience consequences, He works all things for good to those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. And that's what happened here. It doesn't say Abram pleaded with God, but I can guarantee Sarai did. Verse 17 says, "But the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife." Somehow Pharaoh figured out what happened, and he called Abram and said, "What is this you've done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Now here's your wife. Take her and go your way." That's pretty sad when God has to use an ungodly king to rebuke Abram. But that's how He works sometimes to get His children back in line. Has your fear ever gotten you in a mess that God got you out of? Your story isn't in the Bible like Abram's, but you should still tell your story. It's your testimony, your first-hand experience with God. When we share our story, we can encourage others to trust God in spite of fear.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.